This is episode number 19.
8 things in 8 years.
8 things in 8 years. No, 8 things we've learned in 8 years of being together. Looks like a greenhouse plant.
Yeah.
It looks very green right now. Prayer plant.
That's not a prayer plant. That's the prayer plant.
You told me that was a prayer plant.
That's called a pathos.
I've been misinformed. Alrighty, take number 1.
I feel like you need to go like this.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to It's a Win-Win. Hey, relax.
It's not that hard, love.
Okay.
You got this.
I gotta do the intro.
You know it.
Yeah, it's kind of hot up in here. All right.
I don't know why you're wearing a sweater.
Same. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to It's a Win-Win Wednesday, where we upload an episode every single Wednesday. If you're new to the channel or to the podcast, welcome. It's so good to have you. My name is Tommy Wynn.
And I'm Sophie Wynn.
And we moved out here to Silicon Valley right after we graduated from college. And prior to moving out here, we didn't have any family out here. We didn't know anyone. Since then, we've started a business together and we found a community that we love.
Yep. And that's why we created It's a Win-Win Podcast, you guys, because at some point when we moved here, we didn't know anybody and we felt like we didn't really have any friends or a community. And so we thought we should create a podcast for people to have that community online. And so we share our lives, our stories with you so you can feel connected. Hopefully you learn something or laugh or just feel some sort of connection through the screen, because right now is a really interesting time where a lot of us are at home. And so why not get connected online?
That's right.
Before we get into the topic of today's podcast, I just want to ask you guys, how are you guys doing? We are filming at night tonight, as you can see. And so it's a different vibe as the last episode. Today, we just had somewhat of a long day of things that we were doing, and we still wanted to get ahead on the podcast and not wait too long to film it. And so tonight is the night, you guys.
Yep. It's kind of like a fireside chat with the Wins.
Yep.
And if you're listening on the podcast, wherever you're listening from, whether that's driving to work, maybe it's in the morning or maybe it's in the evening, and you're listening to the podcast, or if you're watching on YouTube, maybe you're watching from home or you're watching, hopefully not from the office, and hopefully not driving your Tesla on autopilot.
But they could be listening at the office.
Oh, that's true. You could be listening. Yeah, or while you're working.
Yeah. So wherever you're watching, thank you guys for watching or listening. It really does mean so much. Your support keeps us going each week. And today we're excited to talk about what we have learned being together for 8 years. So February 1st, 2021 marked 8 years of being together. And we started dating February of 2013.
2013, yep.
Yeah. And so now 8 years later, so much has changed. And I thought to Tommy, why don't we do a podcast about 8 things we've learned in 8 years? And so that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yep. So 8 years, that's a long time. And the way we pretty much, I guess I would say, track that time is from dating, right?
Yeah.
From dating all the way until now, which we're married now.
Yeah. So a lot has changed. I mean, we started as friends and now there's just so much things that have changed. And so I thought it could be fun where I share 4, Tommy shares 4 things that he's learned, and then we're going to alternate. And basically I share, he shares, I share, he shares.
Yep.
So I'll kick it off. Okay, I have my notes in front of me. And so the things that we're going to share, things that we learned about ourselves, about each other, our relationship, or relationships in general that we've learned. And so there's no really rhyme or reason to this. It's just what we came up with and then we're going to share. So I will kick it off. One thing that I have learned in these 8 years is that I used to pride myself on being independent, and my family will tell you to this day that I'm just an independent person and I don't like to rely on people, and I just like to, I don't know, not rely on people. I guess that's the only way to say it, right? Mm-hmm. To be independent. And so,
and when you were younger, you were kind of forced to be independent in a way, right? Like you didn't have, you didn't have someone like helping you through, some of the things that, like laundry, like you did your laundry yourself. Like I know for me growing up, at least all the way up until high school, my parents did my laundry for me.
my mom taught me how to do laundry in elementary school. So yeah,
So we grew up just a little different,
a little
different in that
different.
aspect.
Yeah, and it's not that my family didn't want to do things for me. They did, and they did so much for me. But in the sense of independence where, like Tommy said, doing laundry and like figuring out how to apply for Purdue, I mean, I didn't really have help with that. I just kind of figured it out. My mom, growing up as a kid, she worked, I think they call it third shift in the factories or just like night shift, I guess. And so she would, or midday shift, second shift. I don't know.
I think third shift is like early in the morning, like from midnight to like 6 a.m.
Oh no, so she worked second shift. So basically when I was done with school, she went to work.
So like afternoon all the way until like
nighttime.
Late at night.
Yeah. And so I would wait for my mom to come home from work. But then when she came home, I was already showered. You know, my dad fed me and I just figured out how to shower, figured out how to do my hair on my own. There was just so much independence as a kid, and I didn't have young siblings. I was the youngest one out of my family, and I didn't really have anyone to play with when I was a kid. So there's just a lot of independence, and I definitely had pride in that. And I think pride can end up being actually something it's not a good thing to have. And so in being with Tommy over these 8 years, I've learned to break away from that independence ego where I'm like, I don't need a man. I don't need anybody. I can figure it out. You know, I'm going to go to school and just do this thing.
Miss Independent.
Yeah, Miss Independent. And I thought it was awesome growing up that I was like that. But now being with Tommy for 8 years, I've actually learned how to depend on him for certain things. And it's been actually more freeing than anything, where I know he has my back and he can help me. And we are a partnership. You know, we're married. We're a team. So I think that's the first thing that I've learned in 8 years.
Definitely. No, I think that's a really good thing. And it's really good to be self-aware about those type of things as well, where, you know, we become aware of what we can maybe improve on or like try something different that or our spouses or significant other can help us you know, in some way.
Yeah. I think helping each other is what it's all about, because at some point we're going to have kids, and at some point we hope that our parents will be moving in with us, and, you know, we can do all of that, and we're going to need to help each other through that.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a team effort for sure, especially when you talk about kids.
Yeah.
Which I'm a little scared about.
So what is your first thing that you learned?
Yeah. Before I talk about one thing that I've learned, I just want to say this is like total disclaimer. We're not relationship experts or anything like that. We're not trying to give you advice, even dating advice or marriage advice. We're not going to we don't want to give you any of that type of stuff because we're not experts at this. We are just sharing our experiences as we go along this journey went along the journey of dating to now marriage, and we're still continuing that journey right now.
Yeah, don't take our advice. You can take our advice on our social media marketing stuff and things that we do in our business. But relationships is just something we're all learning and navigating. So I think this is more of us sharing with you guys and to, I don't know, inspire you guys to share your stories with other people. Yeah,
it's all about connecting, right, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
All right. So one thing I've learned so far is communication is key. I'm going to answer a little DJ Khaled thing, major key. And I'm being for real about that. Communication is such a big part of our relationship together. Mm-hmm. We're 100% transparent with each other with every single thing from, you know, serious stuff to, you know, the smallest things. And what I've learned there, it's opened up pretty much a whole new door of like how honest we can be with each other. And when we go through things, because we're not perfect, we have our ups and we have our downs, just like the previous episode that you may have already listened to, Down in the Dumps, we can talk to each other about however we're feeling or if something's bothering us that the other person is doing. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just a healthy, you know, essential part of any relationship.
Yeah. So communication is key.
Major key.
And my second thing, so this is like, I guess the third thing out of 8, but I'm going to share what I have learned about Tommy over the years. So Tommy has grown so much, you guys, from college Tommy, well, like middle school, early high school Tommy to college Tommy to this Tommy.
Let's preface that just a little bit, add a little bit more context. So we've been together for 8 years, but we've known each other for 12 to 13 years.
Yeah. So I've seen Tommy in different phases in his life.
Like we've known of each other since middle school, like around 7th, 8th grade, going into high school.
Yeah, so seeing that Tommy to who he is today has been extremely special to me to witness and to see. I've seen like an immature version of him, this like party phase of him, this like very committed fitness phase of him, and I've been so thankful to see the evolution of Tommy Nguyen, where I feel like very lucky to see that, to be able to just join someone in their life and the changes that they have. It's almost like how your parents look at the parents look at their children and just see like the phases in their life, but I get to see like I'm like in the trenches of him in his life for 8 years. I mean, how old were we when we started dating? Like, I don't even know. Were you even 21 yet?
When we were dating,
Wait, how old
like
are
in
you now?
college.
Yeah.
Your freshman year, my
Wait, so you
sophomore
were 20
year.
years old.
Yeah, it was about 2021.
Yeah,
No,
so
20. I think it was 20.
yeah, so Tommy was 20 years old. He's turning 29 this year, and
28. Oh, wait, am I already 28?
Yeah, you're gonna turn 29 this year.
Dang, I am getting
Old.
old.
So I got to see 20-year-old Tommy, and I've been with him up to the 28-year-old and forever. And so I don't know. I think really I get to see him grow in his faith and how he leads me as his wife and like just serves me and takes care of me. And I think I'm just very lucky. I don't know if there's anything that I've necessarily learned in the 8 years other than saying how I'm so excited to see what the future is to come and to see how he changes then, because it's just been every year is so different. Every year I've been through the highs and the lows,
Definitely.
every single thing of his life. And so seeing little bits and pieces of him, who he was back then, like the not immature, but he's so playful. And I wish you guys could see more of who that is, because I feel like I only see it.
Yeah, you probably do.
Yeah, because people look at Tommy as like, someone who could be a little more serious, I guess. But he is actually really not that serious. And I feel very lucky to see that side, and I can't wait. And hopefully we can show you guys more of who he is, because I can still see that Tommy that I met 10 years ago for who he is today. And I don't know. I love it.
Yeah. And I would say the same thing for you as well. I think it's pretty accurate with what you said. Every single year, we have grown. Every year has been different in terms of our just own development, as a person. And, we're still continuing to develop and understanding who we are, as a person. And I think that's just the journey of life, really.
Yeah.
We continue to grow and develop each year.
Yep.
Cool. I think, so the next thing for me that I've learned, and this is, again, more like a general, I think what's worked well for our relationship personally, and that is having small egos, having no pride, having no pettiness, because I think when you're in a relationship and, maybe one person has a big ego or an ego, either it's both or one person, sometimes that can produce a lot of pridefulness, and they can produce pettiness as well. And I think we've been pretty fortunate, early on we were able to figure that out and grow as people. I think early on we definitely had some of that, especially I would say probably in the college years.
Oh,
right?
I was so petty.
So yeah, things would happen and it'd be out of spite, it'd be out of
I'd
pettiness,
be irritated. I'd be saying things that were not kind.
Yeah. And
because of something he did.
I would say I'd be too prideful to admit things sometimes, like if I was wrong. And I think over the years, we've really learned how to put all that to the side and just accept, accept it for what it really is.
Yeah, and I think it doesn't make you less of like a man or whatever if you don't have your ego and you set your pride aside. And I think there's a lot of people who I know in my life that actually struggle with that, but they're working on it. So I think it's a continual process. But so you're basically saying that one of the things that you learned is to set your pride aside and to have small or no egos.
Yeah. And again, that kind of goes back to the foundation of communication, just talking about it with your significant other. And if one of us gets out of line, we check each other. We hold each other accountable.
Yeah. Our new thing is saying shady.
Oh, that's very recent. It's like, hey, you're being a little shady right now with what you said.
Yeah. We're all about calling each other out when we're shady because we don't
Yeah.
want to be petty. We don't want to be shady. Sometimes it still comes out. So that just shows you guys it's a work in progress.
Yeah, and we also do that privately. We're not going to be saying that stuff out in public. So you're not going to see that from us in public.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
So my next one is what I've learned about our relationship. So I am always the one leading the way. We don't like to always say always and never, by the way. We try to check ourselves on that. But
Shady.
That's not shady.
I know, I'm just kidding.
So we don't like to say like, you're never on time. You never do the laundry. You never cook. Cause I just don't think that's at all.
You always leave cups out. You always
leave. Yeah.
We're exposing ourselves right now.
I know. We try to cut that out of our vocabulary. But I will say, I do feel like I am the one who goes out and says like, Tommy, we're going to move. Like we're living in this place now because I said, I want to move.
Yeah, I'm like the one that's like perfectly content with like where we lived before because we recently moved probably 6 months ago, and I was 100% content. Never thought about moving. I was like, oh, this is a nice place, but then Sophie was like,
yeah, I couldn't stand it anymore.
Let's get going.
So I think in what I've learned in our relationship is that I'm the one to take the initiative to move, to check out, eat like a church or whatever. We never had an interest, but someone invited me. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm open to it. And then, I was the one kind of leading that way, but ultimately he decided to come and check it out with me. But I was the one who just in a relationship, just like, I'm going to try it. We're going to go, we're going to try this new restaurant. We're going to hang out with this friend. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And I'm just kind of more of an early adapter, I think, when it comes to everything. Like if I see a new restaurant opening, I want to check it out. If I see this new apartment building being built, I'm going to check it out first. So Tommy is just a little slower because he's a little more analytical.
Yeah, I'm more of a late adopter, I would say, and I am slower to make my decisions.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because you talk about how you're the first one to take that initiative. So, what comes to my mind is like, okay, Sophie's like pretty adventurous. But then when I say that, I'm like, wait, is she adventurous?
I don't think so.
But maybe it's in different aspects, right? Like the food, like maybe when it's food or maybe moving or just checking out new things. But like for me, maybe when I say adventurous, it might be more on the like sports, outdoors type of stuff where I'm a little bit more adventurous there, where I'm like, hey, let's go try this. Let's go try surfing. Let's go to Tahoe and let's try skiing or, whatever.
Yeah.
It may be.
For example, the Texas trip we talked about. I was the one who said, hey, I looked it up on my phone, 24 hours. You want to do it? Like he doesn't go out of his way to like initiate us to try new things. And I don't want to say new things, but.
Yeah. So it's kind of weird because it's like kind of right, but it's kind of not 100% accurate.
Because he's very adventurous.
But maybe, like we said earlier, each year we kind of develop more and more. We grow as a person and find ourselves and become who we are to become. And maybe that's the adventurous for you.
I think I might be more adventurous. Maybe that's what another thing we've learned.
Maybe it's COVID season or COVID times. It has developed you into a more adventurous.
Because I decided to move during this time. I was the one I was like, let's go to Texas. I mean, even there's just so many things, but I'll let you go next.
That's a good one. I like that observation of yourself. Self-awareness is key also. So for me, I think another thing I learned, through these 8 years is that, and this is, I think, more important in marriage. And so we've been married for coming on 2 years now, which is exciting. 2 years is dating. So once, in college, we did a lot. Like we went out on dates like all the time. There was always that excitement of going out,
like
and
every
going to
week,
places.
multiple times a week.
We'd go bowling. We'd go
out to eat,
and we sometimes just go on walks with each other, just around campus, and go to the arcade, whatever it may be.
I miss that.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was really exciting and really fun. And then I think that's equally as important once you get into marriage, because when you get married, like you go through everything, you get married, and you're done. But it doesn't end there. And we talked about this in our previous episode about premarital counseling. And I think it mentioned that, right? In premarital, where it's like, just because you're married doesn't mean you can't date anymore. I think dating is so important. And also what I want to say is that we're still working on it to this day, right? We've gotten married. Our dating has slowed down, but we try our best to make it as intentional as possible. Set weekly dates where we can just have some time to ourselves and have each other's undivided attention.
Yeah, I think COVID time makes it harder because we can't go really, well, now I guess we can go outdoor dining, but I'm not trying to sit outside in 50-degree weather at night on a date night. I don't like cold.
Winter and COVID times.
Yeah, winter and COVID times, it's harder to...
Race cars. We live by a racetrack, guys.
Wintertime and dating is harder, so I think we're trying to get better at that. But our friends Billy and Ellie got us a gift for Christmas, it's all about dates that you can do that are creative and different. And so we are excited to showcase more of that on It's a Win-Win YouTube channel, and we're going to do some of the dates that are in the book.
Yeah, and I mean, do you want to talk about some of the dates that we've gone on? Let's say last year or 2019. Where we've gone on before COVID times, like some of the places we went to. So for our local Silicon Valley people, maybe you can have some ideas for when things do open back up a little bit more of places you can go to.
I think not only Silicon Valley, but people who live in places
actually anywhere. Anyone listening or watching right now.
People that their businesses aren't all shut down and they have actually
that
life being lived.
So true.
Yeah, live it up, you guys. If you have an arcade, we love to do arcades.
Oh yeah, we love games.
Yeah, Dave and Buster's and other, smaller arcades.
Chuck E. Cheese. Just kidding.
I don't know about that.
We would get kicked out.
Yeah, that's weird.
The other one's Golfland, or what's it called? Top Golf.
Yeah.
That's a really fun date place.
We love that.
Yeah.
Movies are so because I think movies are very expensive. When you could just sit at home in the comfort of your own home, and you guys know the germphobe life. I'm just like, I don't know. Yeah. So if we ever,
we got Netflix.
Yeah. But if we ever do go to a movie, I wear my hood up and I don't lean back all the way. So it kind of becomes it gives me more anxiety than
That's a true story, by the way.
Yeah. I don't like movie theaters. I think they're nasty.
So we don't go to a ton of movie theaters, but we do.
But some of them have
really want to watch a movie.
Leather seats.
Oh yeah.
Those I'm good with. But I bring my sanitizing wipes and I sanitize the whole chair anyway.
She does. True story. Everywhere.
Yeah.
But when we lived in Chicago, the Chicago area.
Oh yeah, I love
we
that
used to go to that one movie theater that had leather seats, and then the seats reclined. You could almost like lay down. And I remember one time, I don't know if I think I might have went with a couple friends, like with Mike, and we watched Jurassic World.
Oh yeah,
Jurassic World, I think. And I fell asleep because they were so comfortable.
Yeah. So movies, and then we love going to happy hour because everything's cheaper and you can kind of like try a bunch of different stuff on the menu and save some money at the same time. Our favorite place in San Jose, one of our favorite places, is called EMC in Santana Row. Highly recommend their garlic wings, I think they are. It's been so long since we've been able to go because of the times we're living in, but
they're open right now.
Amazing. Yeah, we should definitely do that.
We might go there pretty soon. What would you recommend there since you mentioned EMC?
Garlic wings, the yellowtail ceviche is good.
Oh yeah, those are all pretty good.
I think you could pass on sushi. What's that seafood called? The pasta?
Umami?
No. What is it called?
Truffle?
No, the one that Shirley got me for my birthday.
Oh, that pasta. I don't remember their name, but I remember what you're talking about. It's like a special taste.
It's like that black seafood thing that with the spikes on it. Oh
urchin?
My gosh. Yeah, but
sea urchin?
It's not called sea urchin though. It's called, there's a name for it. Oh my gosh.
Just look up the menu, guys. Go on the website, look up the menu about that little sea urchin noodle pasta thing.
It's killing me. I have to figure it out. But anyway, it's the number one thing that they're known for. It's a little too creamy for me, truthfully, but yeah, they have some good stuff.
Oh, and I know what you're talking about, but I don't know the name.
Oh my gosh. See, it's not called sea urchin because that's such a weird thing.
But it is a sea urchin.
It is. But oh my God.
It's like the food name for sea urchin.
Oh my gosh. This is so annoying. Gordon Ramsay would be so disappointed in us.
Yeah, Gordon Ramsay, if you're watching, comment down below and let us know.
I would die. Okay. I think.
Oh, my turn? I said dating.
Okay.
And we start talking about dating.
Sorry. The fourth thing that I learned in being together for 8 years is that we have to do what is best for us And I say that, let me explain a little bit. So basically, everyone has an opinion on your life, right? Your family, your friends, your spouse, whoever it is, people just have opinions. And it's not that you don't take those into account. But what I've learned in 8 years is that Tommy's opinion weighs the most. Basically, I have to choose what's best for our life because we are one, we are married, we are together forever. And so I feel like I really struggled with this when we first started dating. I mean, it's different because we're just dating. We're not married, right? The commitment level is just different. But it was really hard for me to make decisions for myself if my family had something to say about it, because generally I'm a people pleaser. And I'm going to share this story. Mom, I know you're watching. I love you. And I say this with love, so don't take this the wrong way. But my mom wanted me to live in the dorm my sophomore year at Purdue. I did not want that because apartments are cheaper, they're bigger, and I didn't really want a meal plan anymore. But in her eyes, she saw safety, close to campus, didn't have to worry about food. Super valid, right?
Yeah, I would say completely valid reasons for sure.
Yeah. And then what I discovered with talking through this with Tommy, because I was really like, man, I really don't want to do this. And he's like, well, why are you doing it? Because you're the one living at Purdue. Your mom's not living at Purdue. I'm like, it was like a light bulb moment.
Yeah, definitely like an aha moment for you. It was like this realization, like, wow, like that makes a lot of sense, right?
Yeah, because I was like, I need to please her. I need to please my mom. But Tommy's like, I get that. You can still make your mom happy by going into college or doing whatever, but you don't need to live in the dorm if you don't want to. I ended up living in the dorm anyway. And so that was the moment I learned, like, I have to do what's best for me, right? And then when we moved to San Jose, our relationship got even, closer and stronger. We've made decisions like we're not going to go home for the holidays because it's expensive or, whatever it may be. We have things we're focusing on, and we just made decisions that were best for us. And our family has always understood. And like right now, we're making decisions like right now, maybe kids aren't something that we can do or are ready to do, and we just make decisions based on ourselves. Even if we have people in our family, they're like, we can't wait for you to have kids, and it's like it's so sweet for them to say that, but we don't let that weigh too heavy anymore.
Yeah, and what I love about like our family, and I think we're really fortunate with this, both sides, we don't really get any pressure to have kids because we're at that age where people typically think about kids, and we're married, so it's like we're ready to go. Like we can pop 1 or 2 out, but we talked about it together, and we're just not ready for it right now, and we don't get that pressure from our family either. And I think it's just amazing to not have that pressure, and really grateful to be in the situation that we're in.
Yeah, so I think because Tommy and I have made decisions based on what's best for us, our family over the 8 years have really kind of caught on, and they're basically like, well, they're probably not going to budge on this anyway, so we're just going to support them.
Yeah, we get immense support from our families, and again, very grateful for that. So
yep.
Thank you guys who are watching.
Yeah, shout out to you guys.
Yeah.
So Tommy has our last and final.
All right.
Thing.
The 8th thing that we've learned in 8 years. And this is more about it's not really about us. It's more what I've learned about Sophie.
Oh gosh.
Drum roll, please. Well, it's not a bad thing or embarrassing thing at all.
Okay.
So the thing I learned about Sophie, well, actually, what I learned, this is gonna be the 8.5 item. So this is 7.5. Sorry, 7.5. The 7.5 thing I've learned over the 8 years. Sophie's name is not Sophie; it's Sopa. Her real name is Sopa, Sopha. Also,
Sopa bun pizza.
Yep. So that's actually her real name, guys. And when like her family calls her by her name, they call her Sopa. So I actually call her Sophie a lot because we work together.
We have
so
to.
I've gotten used to Sophie, but I feel like
I cringe. I can't. I don't like him.
It is weird. I feel weird when I call her Sophie.
Yeah.
But in front of I guess other people, that's what I call her.
Yeah, I kind of wish.
Maybe we can grow into that this year, and I call her Sopa even in front of people that are non-family.
Yeah, I really don't like when he calls me Sophie. When my family calls me Sophie,
it feels weird when I say
when
it.
my sister Savali calls me Sophie, like on phone calls and stuff, I die. I can't handle it. I don't know. And Sophie is not my name, and
it's your nickname.
Can we just go on a side tangent real quick?
Go for it.
I really, not gonna lie, regret that I'm named Sophie now. And the only reason why I'm named Sophie is because I grew up in we grew up in America, duh, but our family is from Laos. Like my parents are from Laos, and in the Lao language, H's are silent. And so SOPHA in English is sofa. First of all, why on earth would anyone why would my parents name me Sofa? But,
Doesn't make any
I
sense.
can't make fun of people that speak English because it literally it sounds like sofa. It looks like sofa.
That's how it's pronounced.
Yeah.
Phonetically.
But
PH.
growing up as a kid, I was super irritated because I was like, my name is not Sofa. I dreaded the time when they would take attendance in like Sofa, because I knew Bun Pisai was like one of the first names in the student list. So I was like, oh gosh, I dreaded it all 12 years of my school. Sofa, Boonfil,
Oh, your last name? I mean, my last name too.
Yeah.
Maybe not as much
Because
as
we
out
grew
in
up
the Bay
around
Area,
a lot of people who
back in the Midwest.
don't know Asian names and Asian people.
For sure.
So basically my brother took me to preschool or kindergarten, and I was just over it. I was tired of people calling me Sofa. And so he's like, call her Sophie. And I'm thankful for that. My brother might be watching this, guy said on the podcast. Shout out to my brother, Andy. He was like, yeah, her name's Sophie. And I was like, thank God
That's your American name.
Yeah, that's
American
what I call
nickname.
my American name.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really regret that because my parents named me Sopa for a reason, and that's the name they gave me, and I wasn't ever proud of it until I became an adult, where I'm like, my parents chose that name for me, and I'm really irritated that now it says Sophie everywhere, but I can't escape it.
What changed that? Guys?
But I can't imagine
So
my friends calling me that.
If you're Sophie's friend, you know Sophie. Her name is not Sophie.
It's not.
You guys are probably mind blown right now. But her name is Sopa.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway,
so that was the seventh and a half thing that we learned. Super side tangent. Oh, one more thing to add to that. Even though you tell people your name is Sophie, sometimes people get mixed up with Sophia as well.
Oh, don't get me started.
We ain't gonna go there. All right, let's come back.
Because people in America,
Hey, we ain't gotta worry about nothing.
they think that Sopa is misspelled and it should be Sophia.
Like they forgot the I.
And it drives me nuts. I'm like, don't call me Sophia. I'd rather you call me Sophia.
All right, we'll do that in another podcast. Pet peeves. Our top 10 pet peeves.
My name is not Sophia.
Okay. So going back to the 8th point after Sopa went on her tangent.
I just had to. You started it.
So Sopa, what I've learned from her in the last 8 years, or just in the several years, is that and I think this is probably one of her best qualities as a person, is that she is a connector. And I think that's really rare to come by in a person who is just a natural connector. A connector that's introverted too, by the way.
Yeah.
And, however you define introvert, we define it by like where you get your energy from. And for her, she gets energy from when she's by herself. That's why she's an introvert. But if you met her in real life, you may think she could be extroverted because
everyone thinks I'm extroverted.
Because she's such a great connector. She will talk to you, and I think where she thrives is on one-on-one conversations, and she just genuinely cares and wants to know more about you. So she's asking these questions where you're going into these deep conversations. I mean, her and I have had some pretty deep conversations, just us alone, where I've never had conversations like that before. Not even with my parents or with my siblings or with my other family, but she can really pull that out of me. And I've seen her do it over and over again with other people. And she's constantly thinking about others. She's very much, putting others before her, and again, a connector. So she's going to make sure you're invited to that dance. You're invited to that party. And she's going to ask you, hey, who can you invite? She'll even challenge you to invite people. Like, she is the connector. Like, if you need to invite people to a thing, she's got you. Like, she will help you out.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah. So I would say she is something I learned from her, or I learned about her, that she is a people person, but she is a connector. And I don't know if that's a very common thing.
I mean, am I tooting my own horn to say it's not?
I mean, in my personal experience, I don't think it is, because I haven't met anyone else that's like her, and I think it's really unique.
Yeah,
unique thing about her.
And
quality.
I can tell when I meet someone who's a connector.
Oh yeah, because we met another one.
I'm just gonna say who it is. Should I say who it is?
He's probably watching.
So my friend Edward, I love him, and I met him this year. He joined one of our groups that we host online, and I just knew right away that he's a connector. I could just tell, and he's introverted.
Yeah.
The moment I like met him, I was like, oh my gosh, Tommy, Edward's a connector.
Yeah. I mean, we could tell like right off the bat, just the way that questions he was asking,
How he engaged
very,
other people.
very easy to talk to him.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think connectors for me have been hard to come by. And I can think of some other friends too, like our friend Daniel. I would say that Daniel's definitely a connector. And I feel like when I meet other connectors, it's like my happy place. It's kind of like you find people with the same hobbies as you or something. Yeah. So I think it's hard to come by, but when I find them, I hold them tight and I think they're really special to me. But I really appreciate you calling me a connector. I think that's a really good quality.
I think it's your calling in life is connecting.
It's really hard
people.
sometimes though. And I think it can be a weakness as well because I'm always putting so many people before myself and like making sure they're feeling good, feeling okay, you know, catered to or whatever. But then I forget myself a lot of the time.
Yeah. And I think another thing too, like talking about like invitation, like you're not scared to invite people.
Oh no, I
Like,
will
you'll
invite
invite everybody.
My friend is throwing a surprise birthday party for his mom on Zoom. And he texted me, he's like, hey, you know more people than me. Can you invite people? And I was like, I'm on it. And I invited a bunch of people. And he's like, thank you. Because he's not really a connector, like at all. That's just his personality. He's just not.
Actually, also being a connector is a real thing. There's a book called The Tipping Point. It talks about 3 types of people. You have the maven, you have the salesperson, and then you have the connector. So she fits right in that connector category.
Yeah, I love it. Whoever wants to have meaningful one-on-one conversations with me, I am here to talk. And I think that's why me and my best friend Jackie get along so well because we're both deep connectors. Like surface level conversation just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah. You actually dread that.
I know. I don't know what to say. It's too surface.
Yeah. No.
And I think one thing too in that, I'll tag along real quick. I guess this is like 8.5 things we've learned, but I think you've been able to express your feelings better in the 8 years.
That's right.
Because when Tom and I first started dating, you guys, whew, I could not read him.
And most people can't. I want to say most people can't.
No, yeah, I agree. See, this is such a is that a bit? See, no, yeah, no.
I thought it was a California thing. Did I say no, yeah, or you say yeah?
I
no?
did. I was like, no.
Oh no, yeah,
no.
yeah, no. But yeah. But no.
I was just gonna say, but yeah. Yeah, I think Tommy has been able to express his emotions better, and I think that is something that I've learned in the 8 years, and it's been so. I guess that's part of my first or second thing that I shared, but it's just like he was really hard to break through, and when I would have not arguments, but things bothering me. I could not tell. I'm like, are you feeling this way? I don't understand how you're feeling.
Sometimes she would call me emotionless.
Yeah, I don't call
it's
him.
Real. And
I don't call you that anymore though.
No, not anymore because
we worked on that.
I've grown to become more expressive in my feelings and talking about how I feel. So actually putting it out. And so typically I would, if I felt any type of way, and I'm kind of still that way now, where I just kind of let it go very quickly.
Yeah,
where
he doesn't let things bother him too long.
Yeah, I tend not to dwell on things, bad things, anything like that.
You don't dwell on anything. Someone can be so mean to you and you're just like, they had a bad day. Nah. And I'm like, I'm so affected.
I almost like just make that excuse for them or give them that reason. So then I just don't hold that plate.
Yeah.
Like I get yelled at sometimes. I go surfing by some of the locals out there, and I'm just like, oh, whatever, man. Like he's just having a bad day.
But that's one good thing about him, and like everybody listening can learn from. Tommy just like lets things go. He does not hold on to anything.
And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't really know where that stands.
I say it's fantastic because I hold on to things and I have to process it. I got to talk it out. I got to think through it. But like maybe it could be a negative thing because Tommy doesn't have to process so much. But then sometimes he does. Like he doesn't realize how much it is affecting him. And so I like challenge him to talk about it. It's like when he has family members who passed away or he's in fights with people. He doesn't really fight with people, but you know what I mean? Like disagreements with people. I'm like, how are you feeling? And he'll be, I'm fine. But I'm like, but you're not.
Yeah, so pod definitely helps get that out of me, get my feelings out of me and express it and vocalize it, and so I don't keep it all in.
Yeah. So those are the 8 things, you guys, 8.5 things that we have learned. Maybe it's like 9 now because it's like 7.5, 7.
Yeah, 8.5,
whatever.
9, whatevs.
those are the things that we have learned over the 8 years. And we hope that you guys learned a little bit more about us. And we would want you guys to share anything that you guys have learned about you and your relationships, anything that resonated with you. I don't know. But I feel like we can't be the only ones feeling through some of these things.
Yeah, I would definitely say comment down below. Let us know maybe something you learned about yourself. Maybe you're dating. Maybe you've been married for like 20 years.
Single.
10 years. Maybe you're single and did I say dating already?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe you're single, but you're mingling.
Or satisfied, single and satisfied.
Or single and satisfied. Let us know maybe this past 2020 what you have learned about yourself or your significant other or about a relationship that you have.
Yeah, we would love to hear because, I mean, it's been so much fun. I say this every podcast, but I genuinely mean it. How fun it is to connect with you guys after the podcast. And, you know, we have our friends like Jonathan that just text me and comment below and things like that. And there are other people too. And it's so nice to know that you guys are feeling connected. And we are not going to stop this podcast if we have people who are feeling connected. So we're doing this for you guys. Truly.
Definitely.
Yep. So thank you guys for watching.
Yeah. So if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching or listening on the Apple Podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button to see more videos as we upload them. And make sure to hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all the latest uploads and to get to be the first person notified when you hit that notification bell. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit that like button. And if you're listening on the Apple Podcasts, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already and give us a rating if you haven't. Those ratings definitely help us improve our content, know if we're putting out good content or if we're not putting out great content. Yep. And also, like Sophie mentioned, SOPA, right? We're changing that, guys. SOPA, call her SOPA.
I don't even know if we can.
If I see any of our friends call her Sophie, I'm going to stop you and correct you. Just letting you know. No, I'm just kidding. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. This is a Win-Win podcast where we upload a new episode every single Wednesday. My name is Tommy Win.
And I'm Sophie Win.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye. Peace.